Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today, and welcome to our session. Today's session is on transitioning from traditional change management to AI-enabled change, and I've been so looking forward to this conversation. Absolutely love the topic, and it is, it's a topic that is getting a lot of attention, and I'm thrilled to be joined by a special guest today, which I'll introduce shortly. And my name is Tim Morton, and I'm one of the founders of Prompta AI. Thrilled to be with you to guide us through this discussion today. And for those that are joining us today, thank you. If you have questions as we go through, we want to hear from you. Please do share them within the chat, and we'll have time to answer your questions towards the end of the session. We're also recording today's session, and we'll share it following the discussion, and we'll also provide a copy of the slides as well. And for this session, we're providing a translation to Portuguese, and if you've got questions, we'll be able to provide answers in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. So, and if we could move to the agenda, that would be great. So again, welcome. We're going to shortly. We're going to have an introduction into Horus Consulting. Provide you a little bit of information there. We're going to talk about the trajectory of change. It's important if we're talking about traditional change management and moving to AI-enabled change that we provide a bit of an understanding of the journey of change management. We're going to talk to some of the challenges we're seeing as we move from the way we've been doing change to new ways of doing change, and then we're going to make sure that we get to you from a Q&A perspective. So we want this to be engaging and interactive, and there'll be opportunities for you to include things in the chat as we go. So I'm so honored and pleased to introduce our guest speaker for today, Cintia. And I've got to say, Cynthia's an amazing change leader and an incredible business transformation specialist. And just a few things about Cynthia's background. She was an HR business partner for 5 years in consulting. For over 20 years, she's worked as a self-employee in organizational transformations and human development programs for various transformations and clients across Latin America. In 2018, she founded Horus with the objective to enable consultants with different approaches in the market. She is a lover of nature, of art, of human relations, and she's based in Brazil. I'm also joined by Hen Mustafa today. Hen will be supporting with the chat, with the slides, with some of the session logistics. So with that, I want to hand it over to Cintia, and thank you so much for joining and for sharing all your expertise with us today on this session. So over to you.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks first. Thanks for the quick introduction to introduce myself. And also thanks for creating this webinar so that you can exchange experience, exchange knowledge. And as Tim mentioned in the beginning, the idea here is to interact with you guys and use the chat. So because we're going to present our point of view and my experience, maybe that's not aligned with yours. So that's great to have you all here as well. So I'm going to introduce Horus very fast. As Tim mentioned, I'm based in Brazil. We work pretty much in Latin America. Of course, sometimes we report to North America and Europe, but most of the clients and the context of change is in Latin America. And Horus, just to give some numbers and information, we are 18 years in consulting marketing, 11 countries, more than 20 clients, and those big clients in Brazil and in Latin America. As service, we have 2 pillars. We offer 2 services. mailing to the clients and to the market. One is journeys of transformation. That's the subject, the core subject that we're going to discuss today. So we work on developing solutions to attend the needs and those needs from the clients and the demands. It can be merger and acquisition, digitalization, shared services process, any type of scenario related to transformation. And also we have another pillar that it's human and organization development programs and integration. So from this side, we also customize solutions to support the clients and leaders in soft skills, and also to integrate different areas. So these are the main service that we provide to the market. And as products, we have one product that it's a program already set up, and we of course customize to each client. When it's the advisor profile, because since the beginning, as I founded Horus, it was like when I created Horus, the idea was to prepare and enable a better consultant. So, and I realized that the importance to be like a really consultant. So this program is to develop those abilities and capabilities that you can convert in a more advisor profile, you know, strategic skills, and also like make good questions and diagnose and prepare a proposal and a good solution and prepare and share to the client. So, and in parallel, we have a career planning. It's a workshop based on the transformation that we're conducting in Latin America. Realize that some of them, in the end, people, they move roles, and sometimes they need to go to the market because they quit the company, or the company they do not need them anymore. So we realize the importance to have this career workshop. It's focused on helping people define their career. And social initiatives, of course, we have some. One is for young people, is to get them prepared to the market. We run a program 2 or 3 years ago. It's not just to prepare a resume and to set up your resume. It's more than that. It's just to help them to identify their talents and get prepared to select the career path. And also the other one is Hara movement. It's about self-awareness for individuals. So basically that's Horus. And we can jump to the other one here to talk about the approach that we have regarding organizational transformation journey. That's our subject today. So I believe, and as a change lead and as HR, that come from HR as well. So I believe that the journeys, the transformation journeys, it's a journey that the people need to develop, and they need to learn. So it's not just a transformation management itself, but we really need to include another pillar to sustain this journey, that's individual management. So during the journey, I don't think the final, to get to the future stage, it's going to be, I mean, the best and everything it's done. I mean, the journey is very important, and we believe that we need to work on the transformation management side. I think everybody knows what it is, all the deliverables that we know, like to define the strategy and define the communication plan, the engagement plan, the organization impact, and stakeholder matrix. All this is important. But if you do not work with the individual management, I think something is missing. So we need also to have those success factors, which are, for example, to develop the leadership, to work in the self-awareness of those people who will be impacted. We need to have programs. We need to get them prepared in a different way, to open channels to listen to these people and bring them to the journey and work together with them, with the leadership as well, and get them prepared in the whole group. And both sides, I mean, we need to work on this. And I believe that the combination and the balance of these two sides, and if you can jump to the other one, I think both together, that's something that we believe that we can succeed. I mean, one side you can see the heart, one side is the heart, you can say soft, and the other one is the brain. I mean, that's the hard part. I prefer to say that one side is art. You know, to deal with people, you don't learn from the university. You don't learn in a course. You learn because you love people, because you believe that people are important when we are in a transformation journey. And any type of change or something that we're working together, we need to consider. So for me, that's the heart and that's the art, because you need to have this ability to deal with people. And from the other side, it's more technique and the brain and those deliverables that everybody, I think, from here know that they need to implement as well. So this combination, we believe that's, I mean, the best approach to help the clients to do the organization transformation. Of course, we have some frameworks, and based on each scenario, we need to activate, you know, those pillars and those activities that we need to implement into the client. So basically, that's our belief here in terms of organizational transformation journey. And Henry, if we can go to the other one.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I think for me, I've heard over the years, and I have seen it, that great change and transformation people make it look easy. Make this execution of transformation look easy, knowing that it's just not. And it is a combination, as you said, of the heart and the brain, and really understanding all of the dynamics that you know, that are happening. So yeah, we wanted to talk and Cynthia, get your thoughts around the biggest limitations when you think of traditional change management approaches. And when we think about traditional change management, we're really thinking about how have we operated, you know, how have we been operating over the last decades before AI enabled change, and some of those biggest limitations to the ways that that traditional change management approaches, you know, have taken hold within organizations and within change management ways of working.
Yes, I think, Tim, I think of two of them. In my mind comes two of them. I think first, and the professionals and the change managers, or even inside the organization, they have those frameworks, and they believe that those frameworks need to fit to the same to different situations. You know, I think one limitation is to one size fits all. You know, I don't think that's the way to do the transformation. But one of the limitations is that some of the professionals from change management, even some leaders, they think that an approach can be used in the same approach in different situations. I think one limitation is we do not adjust sometimes the approach, the correct approach, to each scenario, to each culture, and each client. This is one of the limitations that I see nowadays. And I mean, the history, I see the same, but nowadays more, it's, let's say, no, I'm going to use these in this company. It's a different scenario, it's a different culture, and I keep using the same templates or the same speech, you know, and it doesn't work. I think that's one of the limitations that I see. The other one, I think it's the strategy and the agility to get information, to collect information from the assessment, initial assessment, or the first assessment, or during the journey. I think the agility to do this, it's not as fast as it should be. And also to to analyze this information and to really transform in insights, to make decisions from the people side and also from the business side. I think that's another limitation that I see. I mean, to get and collect information and to use this information in a correct way, an adequate way to provide insights and to really bring value to the journey in the beginning, in the middle, or in the end. So I see those two limitations that I come up in my mind right now. I don't know if you have any one or any other that you want to share, but that's the ones that I see here from Latin America, especially.
Yeah, and I think I think one of the biggest limitations I see is the lack potentially of using data, timely data to drive change. And I think part of this as well is a lot of change change management people who really know what they're doing and how to do things, they're really doing the best they can with the tools they've got today. But there's new tools available. There's data, there's insights, but a big limitation has been that ability even to pivot from, hey, we've always done it this way and we've been successful, or I've been successful driving this. What about moving forward? So and incorporating some new approaches potentially into that, and that can of course be scary as well. And for change management people, just like everybody else, it's difficult to go through change, especially
Yes.
if you've got a pattern that works. So if we could jump to the next slide, Hand. And we want to ask from the audience. So we'd love to hear from you in the chat. What are your biggest frustrations with traditional change management? Or if you had, if you had a wand, or special powers to change something with traditional change management, what would you change? So if anybody has any thoughts around some of their biggest frustrations, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we'd love to hear from you. And one of the things that we've seen on our end is, one of the biggest frustrations is somehow how certain leaders perceive change management. And with that, what we've seen sometimes is there's certain leaders who perceive that change management is too slow, it's too fluffy, it's sometimes all about getting to a kumbaya, let's feel good, and that it's not timely or data driven. And I think that's been one of the biggest frustrations that we've seen from many leaders from a change management perspective as well. Are there any other big frustrations, Cynthia, that you've seen and you've experienced?
Yes,
with traditional
I think,
change?
Tim, it depends on the business lead or the leader that is leading the transformation with the change management. But sometimes what I feel, and they say sometimes, it's like, I don't have the enough partnership that I was expecting from the change manager. I mean, to work together. Those that they know the change management as a framework and how it should be doing, for example, they share with me sometimes. It's like, I feel that I don't have the partnership that I was expecting to work together in the people side, but also in the business side, to connecting those parts. This is the one that I listen to from the leaders sometimes. And also they say in other cases, like, I agree with you that some of them, they don't see value and information. But also they say, I see people working with so many templates, you should do this and this and this and this time. And they say, but why should I do this right now? It doesn't make sense. They see the change management as a toolkit that they provide, and they need to do some of these steps, but for what? What's the reason to implement this, and why are you doing, are you using this template and this approach? So that's something that I listen from them, and when I talk to them. But I also see some of them, they do not understand what it is, and they don't see value sometimes to help them.
Yeah, and I think with that, one of the things that we sometimes see is that there's a belief that this one change manager or this one change team is going to solve everything. They're going to solve every problem.
The management part.
And I think too, leaders don't always realize that they have a role to play in change management, and also that everybody going through it has a role to play, and they need to be involved and engaged and active participants. It's not enough to just bring on somebody to do that. And we've got a we've got a comment in the chat, and thank you so much. This is a great comment. It says, I think the change management is becoming more and more bottom up rather than old-fashioned top-down change manament. And I think that's thank you. I think that's a great. Great comment. And I think as we move from traditional change management, which was really top down, where we would just, as a change person in traditional change management, part of the open activities would be interviewing leaders. Mm-hmm. And now when we think about this more bottoms up type approach, we want to understand the sentiment of everybody going through change. What do they need? What do they want? What's important? And I think that becomes a great way to involve everyone. So it's just not resting on the shoulders of that change manager. So
yeah. And I want to provoke here those who can just speak Portuguese or Spanish. If you want to use the chat in other language, I don't know if you are using the title, subtitle in Portuguese already, but for those who want to share something or in other language, in Portuguese or Spanish, I can help with both. And just go ahead, okay, guys? Just feel free.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing the translation right now in Portuguese either. So, and if there's something we need to do to restart that would be great. And we want to go on. If you can go to the next slide, Hand. We do want to hear from the audience again, and we'd love for you to. You don't have to type anything long. We just want to hear from you from A to E. So for you personally, what's the biggest barrier to successful change in your organization? Whether that's an organization you're working with, a recent organization, we'd love to hear from you. So if you could put, an A to an E within the chat, that would be great. And
maybe you're going to have different profiles here, maybe change manager. We can also have some business leads here invited. So from different perspective, the barriers that you see in your organization, it depends. It doesn't matter the role that you are occupying right now, but I think it's important to understand a little bit.
Yeah, and here
all of above, all of the above. E, all of the above.
I think we're starting to see a bit of a trend, and if you think, a D, so outdated tools and processes, and we've got a leadership misalignment. So when we think about it. Part of what we're trying to do as we move from traditional change management, it's really how do we give change leaders better tools and better insights. We know how hard people are working, but we need to give them great information. That leadership misalignment is tremendously important. We're seeing some more B's and C's. But it really is, getting in front of resistance, starting to move away from some of those dated tools, templates, processes. But this is great, everybody. Thank you for sharing. And again, that's very aligned to what we're seeing. So. And if we could jump to the next slide, and I want to hand it to Cynthia, and if you can kind of talk through and take us through kind of the trajectory, but really the history of change management and what you've seen in the market, and just talk us through. This would be, I think this would really be helpful. And for some of us too, that are either new to change or also those of us that have seen things move over the years, that would be great. So over to you, Cintia. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Tim. So I think it is important to say that I have more than 20 years working with change management. So that's why I can talk more about the 80s and the 90s and the 2000. Maybe those younger than me, maybe see from just one perspective from now and not so since the beginning. But something that I would like to highlight here is that some IT context, because the change management comes together with the IT needs, you know, from the beginning, the term change management. So the IT context is very important. I'm going to just to highlight and some milestones from the market. I think from the 70s, as we see, we didn't have internet, you know, the companies were changing, but without the support of a specific area. It was just HR, you know, and you jump in 80s and 90s, we have the ERPs, you know, it's the expansion of technology, internet. So something is changing. The companies are implementing some tools and ERPs and start to think about these process, more automated process. So, and the technology, of course, is supporting this. And the 2000, from 2002, 2010, or even a little bit more, we have this expansion of ERP, CRMs, and other softwares that were supporting the companies to implement the process, or to change the process, or to increase and improve the operation. And we have here large implementation. Is also at the same time we have the globalization, but it's not just the IT transformation, but it's also merger and acquisition. The companies are looking for efficient, you know, to reduce cost and to like those outsourcings, or to centralize some operations internally. So that's what's happening from the 2000, 2010, or even a little bit more. And now we jump to the other ones. We follow with the ERPs, with the CRMs and business intelligence. We have the COVID, which I think it's important because we changed the way we work. It's much more like online. It's virtual all the time. All the projects now, I can work from here in different countries, so it was not possible, or the idea to do this was not possible. And we jump to today, we have different softwares, we have more G&A projects, we also have ERPs, and we also have CRMs and those specific like Salesforce and process improvement, and some merger and acquisition as well. But we have different generation managing the transformation. We have different scenarios, and the chains are different. If you think about an ERP or digitalization in the past, it was like to learn the concepts and to learn to click into the bottom, the aspect of this ERP. Now it's more related to data. It's more like we need the change and the impact from those involved I need to share data. I need to be the owner of data. We need to have a governance to support the data. You know, we need to have capability to analyze, to more analytical capabilities, and to provide insights. So the chains are different as well, and the contexts are different. The project teams and the management, they are totally different from the beginning. So when I enter and I participate in some projects, what I see, different generations, different approach, agile approach, and also it's not better or worse. I'm not judging this. It's just simply different. You know, I think that's important to just to understand this flow and this journey, because when you see, and if you can jump to the other one, when you see change management in this journey, we see, as I mentioned, the HR supporting, more administration support, and after we have the importance of the human being in this journey, in this transformation process. And we have the change management term with the IT projects. And here, what I remember, it's just one key person responsible for one region, and very senior person, and those professionals coming from the consultancy companies, not from the client. and they were from the big companies, from the consultancy companies, and the full scope, they were in charge of these or responsible for this full scope as a change manager at that time. So when you jump to the more years to 2010 or 2015, we see those people work in different scenarios, not just IT, supporting IT. Some of them, they work it and some not. So I, for example, participating in shared services, in process improvement, in some of merge and acquisition, and outsourcing as well. So and some of these people, they learn it and they experience, and some not. But this is important to say that that's the moment when we see people becoming self-employed, and the companies are also creating those internal areas to structure a change management office or area at the same in parallel. And what we see here, and nowadays it's like it's more fragmented teams than those that see the end-to-end change management. What I see, it's like, well, one person is responsible for communication and the other one is more training or impact. You know, if it's a global company or local company, you have global, we have local. You know, that's something that is also changing in the way we deliver and work as a ways of work in terms of change management. When we get to this today, you know, and we see those people that had this experience, maybe they are not working anymore with change management in the market. They are doing different jobs, you know, they are not participating. We have people with less experience maybe, but with different generation, and also the cost reduction is something that we see all the time. We cannot have so many people, we cannot hire so many people. In the past it wasn't like that, but at the same time I see much more people being assigned, forming these teams, than those that we had just one or two and being supported by the client side, at least in Latin America. Okay, I think it's important, that's the perspective from Latin America, and it changed a little bit the way we operate change management. So I think it's relevant here just to understand that some milestones are changing the market, and also the way we operate and the way we are supporting this is also changing. And that's just something that I would like to share, to provide some reflection and to see if you guys agree or disagree, because I'm not in North America or Europe, but I see the same when I'm assigning or working for a global corporation. So that's something that I would like to share here. And I don't know, Tim, if you have any comments or any other comment from the audience.
No, I just want to share with everyone. We will be sharing out these slides as well as the recording of the session. And I think it's you know, I think for me, when I was reflecting on what you were sharing and think about the change management trajectory, I think one of the big things for me and one of the big frustrations was over so long we haven't seen the numbers improving as far as projects successful. They certainly are not improving from an M&A integration perspective, from a digital transformation, even from culture. And I think part of that is you know, maybe it's that need to do, you know, new ways of working, and really to use data and different tools and really involve everybody and understand the sentiment. And I think you know, I think that's really important. And we've got a couple comments in the chat, and one person had said, "This is the first time I've seen anybody break down the history of change management." Thank you. And somebody else has agreed that it was very insightful. And I think it really is it is interesting to think about the trajectory of change management. And as you talked, you know, one of the things that came to mind is, in those early days, a lot of times it wasn't even called change, and in some countries it wasn't. It was just, how do we prepare people? How do we
Mhm.
how do we prepare people and engage, engage people and make sure that we get them successfully, successfully across, across that finish line, and sustain them going forward, as well. So, and if you can jump to the next slide, that would be great. And again, we've got another comment that great insight. Need to move to using the
The
date
Portuguese.
Yes, the date for augmentate rather than automation data. So great, great comment as well. So and Cynthia, we want to talk about some of the key challenges and those misconceptions that that you're either encountering or you're seeing as you're helping organizations to transform in these days.
Yeah, I think I saw some of the comments from the audience. One of them is the leadership commitment and the sponsorship. Sometimes there are some projects that without this, I think it's very complicated to be a change manager and work alone with just a business lead, for example, in a transformation. And I think one of the challenge is this one. From the whole journey, I can say I faced some of these specific challenge, and we face now as well. I think it's one that someone said here, but I think that's the one. The other one is basically today, I think the maturity level of the organization to implement some of the transformation that they are trying to do, I think it's not aligned sometimes. The organization is not well prepared to have a DNA or project or to have artificial intelligence sometimes, but because sometimes they don't have the first level, the process, or it's not the foundation to evolve to a different transformation step. I think the maturity level of the organization is something that's another challenge. But of course, sometimes we are invited to be part and they had already defined the business case and we are going to support anyway. But sometimes the maturity of the organization is not ready for the transformation. And also I see another challenging that I would like to share that I haven't seen here. It's regarding the project team. What I face now and what I'm facing much more than before is like I see the project team, the management aspect of the project team, not well prepared or not so integrated. I don't know if it's because we're working virtually or because of the way that we are creating these teams to work in a transformation. That's the first group of people that we need to integrate, and they need to be well prepared to help the transformation. And sometimes what I see as a challenge, and they are not so integrated, and the synergy we don't have. And I think we need to work hard on this piece of the transformation. And this is another challenge that I see much more today than before. And the other one, it's just about the organization. I see so many transformation happening in the organization that the employees are totally lost. It's like they are doing this project and this initiative, and they are doing this and this, and so many initiatives happening. And I think the people, they do not know exactly what to put their attention sometimes, and also to work on the focus communication, for example. The specific group, it's very important then, open those big communications to talk about this big project, because there are so many big projects and stuff happening. So from the organization side, I think it's the leadership and this scenario of lots of change. From the project team, I think the management part and also the integration of this team, and of course the maturity level of the organization. I think these are the challenges that I see nowadays much more.
I love it. I love it. And there was a couple of things that came to my mind. One, the project team. The project team plays such an important role because they're going to be engaging with different different end users along, and they need to understand that they're part of the extended change team and they're part of the brand. And it's important for them also to understand that what they're doing needs to work for the business and work for those key users. And I think having them see themselves as part of the change, extended change team, where they're not just responsible for, you know, a piece of the technology, they're actually bringing forth new ways of working. And then, you know, one of the other things that that you did share about was the number of priorities. I remember speaking with a CEO who said, "Yeah, we have 87 priorities this year," and my I I don't think I laughed because of course I wouldn't want to be rude, but in a sense you have to laugh at that, because if you have 87 priorities, what are you really going to get done? And you can have sub priorities, I understand.
Well done. Yes.
but if you're trying to transform your organization, if you're putting in, say, a new, let's just say you're putting a new ERP in, and you're going to transform your organization that way, if that's competing with 86 other priorities, that's going to get lost. It really needs, you really need to think about, as leaders, we need to figure out what our priorities are and actually pick some that we can, you know, we can achieve. Remember working with a global organization which just kept saying, well, and this was, you know, one region, and they said, well, we keep hearing from global that they tell us we have to do all these things. Well, part of your job as leaders is to be able to tell them there's only so much we can do and achieve success. So I think that's a real key thing, because we can't successfully do 87 things. But as an organization,
Sure.
and as leaders, we may be able to do 3 to 5, and even that can be a stretch. So so thank you. And if we can move to the next slide, we want to talk about a little bit about why we move from traditional change management to AI-enabled change, and also, Cynthia, get your thoughts. And on our end, you know, one of the biggest reasons for us was, it was back in 2018, and we were supporting a global pharmaceutical, and the CIO out of New Jersey had said, we really love the work that Prompt is doing, but we use data across our business. Why aren't you? And it was a great call out. It was, you know what, why aren't we? You know, why don't we find ways to leverage data effectively? And when we did some soul searching and we thought about, okay, how do we move from traditional change? And from our perspective, the need was, okay, we need to use data and insights. We need to move away from some of those traditional templates and playbooks and tools, and really think about how we're going to leverage data. We also were seeing a lot of pushback about how resource intensive traditional change management is. And as we talked about before, you know, we were seeing some leaders who had gone through some less than optimal transformations, where they saw change management as either a necessary evil, they saw it as just something that was a feel good or a nice to have, or you know, not that important, or maybe even just, oh well, they'll do some of the coordinating. And with traditional change management, what we saw as well was all of that time at the start of a project to, you know, where we saw people spending 6 to 8 weeks to create a big strategy and a 60-page plan that nobody looked at. And it was important because it was part of their checklist that they had to create this. But what we were seeing was that need to both plan and execute at the same time, and using data. And what we'd seen in the past were some of the traditional change managements, some of the methods were very rigid, where you're going to do this and this and this. And we saw the use of templates where people didn't always see the value of that without employee sentiment or timely data or insights. And a lot of manual, and Cynthia, you had said this as well, a lot of one size fits all frameworks. Hey, this worked on this type of transformation, let's reuse it on this. So, some of the reasons we moved is, we were being asked to start to use data and insights to be able to understand the sentiment of the workforce that was going through. We were being asked to do more with less resources, and I think that's certainly a trend right now. And one of the things that we've been able to see is, when you're using data and AI, we're giving better tools to leaders and change leaders, and we can reduce some of the overall resource requirements and change management costs. We're putting better tools in there, and part of it too is that need to be able to target the intervention, because that different groups are going to need different support as they go. So that was a big part, and also to be able to pivot quickly based on data. So Cynthia, anything that you wanted to add here?
Yeah, I think also connecting to what you are saying, Tim, the approach, not just the tool or as an enabler, because it's an enabler, but also the tool is going to collect, the human aspect of this as well. It's not just to collect any type of data, it's to collect the right data, and the right data is sentiments and thoughts and those elements of data and information that the artificial intelligence from Prompta is offering, is like not just those data that names of employees. We're not talking about these data, but you're talking those data that are really relevant to have insights and also strategic decisions and support the transformation. I think that's something that I would add here. So the human aspect, it comes together with the neighbor. That's something that I would like to emphasize.
Indeed. And we've got a couple good, great comments. Keep them coming in the chat. They're amazing. And one was around the, again, the 87 priorities and how leadership can underestimate the human side of transformation. And a great point about, transformation stalls without cultural readiness, trust, and clear communication. It's really being focused, and we are seeing lack of trust across organizations. So so that's a big one. And we also had another comment about, with the rise of remote work, change going beyond physical borders, with that deeper understanding of different leadership styles and culture mandates across countries and different markets. And that is so true. And I think that avoiding that one size fits all mentality is just so important, where with data and insight, we can really target to those key demographics. So and we see that another comment around, competition for change management, from companies taking it on in-house and having existing employees assume roles that they weren't trained for. And that's a really tough one as well, where somebody within the organization is being told, you're just going to manage change. And it's hard enough, and they may still have a day job. So it's some really great comments. So Hen, can we jump to the next slide? And I think just building on some of these points, Cynthia, what, for your perspective, what do you think are going forward and looking to the future? What are the skills and capabilities that are going to be most valuable going forward in leading change today and into the future?
And for the future, yeah. I think one of them is to be good at diagnose and customize solutions. I don't think that in the future or nowadays we should use the frameworks that are available that say you need to use this and this. No, I think the soft skill or this more consultant skill is to really understand the need and to really understand the scenario, the culture, and be able to really create good solutions in terms of change management and connecting this solution to the business objective. Not it's about the people side and everything more soft aspects, but we really need to create those solutions connecting to the business as well. The other one is to expand the business knowledge. From the change management professional, I think we really need to go close to the leader or to the executive and really understand the business, to understand the process, the organization structure, to understand the goals, what they are thinking for the future. I mean, everything, even the biography of the company, to really understand how to deal with the past and the current moment based on the past. So I think we need to expand this business knowledge in a different way, to be seen as a different professional, not to be seen like those who are going to fill in templates. That's one, the other one. And like consulting capabilities, like generating a relationship, need to be able to generate good relationship, trust and credibility, and listening those people, to open this channel and start to listen people and not just to be doing stuff, doing and talking. We don't need to be talking too much and doing so much. We need to be much more open to deal with all these scenarios and listen to the employees, the key users, the project team, the executives, to open this channel. And the strategic vision is part of these capabilities. And be more analytical, I think that's the other one. And consider all this context of change, many change, different projects and data projects and data and analytical projects and Power BI and business intelligence. I think we need to be more adaptable and flexible. I think we need to, those who have this great experience, more than 20 years, for example, need to understand it's a different moment, different generation, different needs and different trends. I don't know, everything. We need to be more flexible and be more adaptability to really help them, because maybe the way we were doing and we have done it, we did in the past, it's not going to be the same. So that's something that I think those capabilities much more valuable for the change management professionals, to gain this space and this credibility. That's what I believe.
Thank you. No, totally spot on. It really is that ability to pivot and be open, and to leverage those skills that you've got. So why don't we jump ahead? I know we don't have a lot of time. We'd love if there's questions from the audience. Hand, if you can jump to the next slide. If there's questions from the audience, please do put them in the chat. We'll get to the ones we can today, and otherwise too, we're going to make sure that you get Cynthia's contact information along with the slides after this. And Han, we've got a couple quick ones for the audience. So if we can jump to the next one, we'd love to hear from you in an A to an F. Sorry, there's an alarm going off here. From an A to an F perspective on what type of transformation is your organization currently focused on? Or it could be one that you're focused on as you're supporting your people. So we'd love from an A to an F. We'd love to see that. I'm seeing an A and a B, and those are those certainly are what we're seeing a lot of right now. It's really a lot of M&A integration that's happening, a lot of digital transformation. We're seeing some C's and E's as well, and a D. So it sounds like all, you know, and another C and B. So it sounds like there's a lot of different transformations that are going on. And why don't we jump to the next quick one we'd love to hear from people is we want to know, have you used, you know, we're talking about AI enabled change. Have you used AI tools to support change and your transformation efforts? So we're seeing an A, exploring. So I think another A. So we're seeing another B. So it sounds like for a lot of folks, you know, it's either we are or we're thinking about it. And so I think that you know, from a transformation perspective, that's very, very positive. And another A there. Cynthia, I'd love, we're just about out of time. I'd love to get any closing thoughts, if we can, from you as well. You know, it's
Yes.
you shared your passion, but I'd love any closing thoughts.
Okay, I wrote it down because I don't want to miss the words, but let's see if I can share my thoughts for the audience. I think the organizational transformation journey is a process, you know, it must be sustained, but lots of involvement and engagement. So to build this foundation during this journey, I think it's necessary to generate relationship. So the art of human relationship, or to the human relations, for me, it's the valuable capability for the change management professional, not just the change management professional, but all of them that are supporting or facilitating type of transformation in the companies, the leads, the executives, or the change manager, or the change management team. So this is my thought that I would like to leave to the audience. And thanks a lot for the participation, the interaction, and team and hand as well for this moment.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights, your passion, you know, all of your, you know, wealth of knowledge with you. And we'll make sure people can reach out to you, directly. We do want to call out that we've got a couple webinars that are coming. One coming on the 15th of this month, which is leading through disruption, how people-centered transformation can build stronger climates. And also we've got one that's happening early in June about team-enabled transformation, and how, you know, how to tie that with tools like a digital twin in order to better leverage AI-enabled change. So we're going to put both of those in the chat so people can sign up. And if you can go to our final slide, it's just a thank you. Thanks to everybody who's joined us today. Again, we'll get materials out to everybody that's signed up. Thanks to our special guest, Cynthia. Thank you to Hand for your support in organizing this. And we hope everybody has a great day. Thank you for being part of the conversation. Let's keep the conversation going. And as you know, as questions come up, please do reach out. And you know, we're all part of this move from traditional change management and really empowering the role of change leaders with better tools and better insights. So thank you, and hope everybody has a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.